All right.
Hello and welcome everyone to another one of my mindful conversations where I speak with beautiful, brilliant women from across the world. And we have this wonderful conversation about inspiring yourself, loving who you are, and realizing you are important. Be kind to yourself, not everybody else. So, with me today, I have Kimberly Sparks, and Kimberly is a health coach. She inspires others to just what we're going to talk about, love yourself, make time for yourself. And like myself, all of you know, is a nature lover because of the power that we feel and we experience in nature. And how I found Kimberly was just through Instagram. I noticed she had that same vital message. And I thought, yeah, I'm reaching out to Kimberly because she has a message that I truly believe, as you all know that have been following, listening to my podcast, the power of self love and self worth. Hello, Kimberly. Welcome to Mindful Conversations. I'm really happy you're here today and about this conversation that can never be heard enough.
Right, right. Hello, and thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Yeah. And Kimberly, some of our listeners always want to know is where's your guest from? So you couldn't just quickly tell us where you're from, Kimberly.
Sure. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. It's also known as Music City. I've been here 14 years. I moved here because my sister got pregnant, and I said, I'm going to go be an aunt. I have lived in South Florida, Miami, Florida. I'm originally from Arkansas. So I've never left the South of the US, but Nashville has become home. It's an easy city to live in. I love the fact I can, as we were talking about nature, I love the fact I can step outside on a sidewalk and walk to the park. So I love my little home, and yeah, and people know where I'm from by my accent a lot of times. So it's kind of,
True, true. But it's always, it's always nice to know because I'll get comments like, where was that guest from again? uh,
yeah.
so, Kim, I, did a little quick brief intro about who you are. So, can you tell our listeners today, like, who is Kimberly Sparks?
Yeah, gosh, it's one of those questions like I don't ever feel comfortable talking about myself. But I am, as you said, a health coach, and the story behind that is really funny because our family owned a gym growing up, so health has been an important integral part of my life since I was a child. And so it was just kind of a natural progression. I did spend 20 years in the legal field. Um, but I kept looking out the window and looking outside and just thinking there's more to this life. And so, there's always ways to help people in whatever occupation you're in. But I knew for me it was something more. So that's where it took me to become a health coach. But I'm also a dog mom, and I'm an aunt of four. The nephew is now 14, and I have three nieces. And I just, love getting outside. I was outside walking today, just beautiful sunshine. It lifts the mood. It lifts the mood. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm in school getting my master's in human nutrition because that's another big passion of mine. It goes with the health coach thing, but it's kind of separate in the way because I believe nutrition is where a lot of people kind of suffer. And when it comes to self-love and food, there's a whole big category of things there. A lot of people with emotional eating and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And, you really struck a point when you said emotional eating that I find a lot of, and I'm going to address women here. Do you find too that a lot of women, if they have, let's say, a cookie or a piece of cake or a piece of chocolate or potato chips, they feel so guilty and they ridicule themselves and this negative voice. And, something that I always say, it's fine. Treat yourself to that. There's a difference between treating yourself and really enjoying it to doing it all the time. And you find when they fill themselves with this guilt and this ridicule, that self-love and that self-care just ends up going downhill.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And it's something I talk about, with clients and things like that, because enjoy it. Like you say, enjoy it. Enjoy that chocolate, really enjoy it. Know what you're doing and just enjoy it. And I do, I mean, you cannot live this life without having those little simple pleasures. And, even in food can be pleasurable. But if you're not doing it every day, it's okay. It's okay. If you're doing it every day, you might want to check in with yourself, because you're probably got a lot more going on. But
Mhm.
enjoy it. Just, yeah, enjoy that chocolate, enjoy that cookie, and yeah, that glass of wine.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful to hear that, because you're taking nutrition as well. And it's wonderful that you agree with that, right? Because I've had women, and I'm sure you have it all the time, they come up to you and say, "Oh, guess what I have? I feel so guilty." Or you read it, right? I mean, you read it on their social media, and I'm going to mention it because it's out there. And
Yes.
and it just tears you up inside, right? How, because we as women, Kimberly, we excel in being really hard on ourselves, and we excel in giving ourselves ridicule, and we excel in being angry with ourselves, but yet we wouldn't be that unkind to somebody else. Someone else telling us, a friend telling us, "Oh, I made this chocolate cake and it was decadent and it was so good." And you're like, mouth is watering, you feel happy for them. And then you're like, "Oh yeah, give me the recipe." And then you make it and you have a piece, and then maybe you have another piece and you end up feeling guilty.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
Yes.
it's it, it is amazing how we treat ourselves and the things we say to ourselves, and when we look in the mirror and what we see. And I've been there, I've looked in the mirror and I'm like, who are you? Like, so mean to myself. And it takes work. It takes work over, and years of it. It's like a muscle. It's this confidence is like a muscle. This love is like a muscle. You have to continue to work it in order for it to thrive, in order for it to, because we are pushed down so easily every single day, that we have to have that self-love to continue to move on, to keep going.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's so true, right? It's a daily conscious
yes.
action we need to take. It needs to become a habit, right? And
Right.
I say that too. It's a continuous journey that's never going to end. And as you and I had spoke previously too, like I've been on this 25-year, 28-year journey. It's never going to end. Just as
Yeah.
Kim, you mentioned to me too, like this has been a journey of the same amount of time, that it is continuous. And it's those small baby steps, it's those small habits, those small daily rituals that end
Right.
up helping you shift your mindset. And you know
Yeah.
what? Those negative words are always going to be there, right? You said it too. I do too. I look in the mirror and it's like, "Oh, another wrinkle or another gray hair." But it's the difference of giving that power and believing it, or shifting in what you say. It's like, "Yeah, I got another wrinkle, but you know what? I have beautiful blue eyes." Like
Right.
what do you do, Kim, for yourself that has you release, that has you harness, that feel has you this empowering energy that keeps you going towards self-love and self-care? What's something you do and that you can share with our listeners today to help them along in their journey also?
Sure, sure. And it's what you say, it's habits, right? So when I first started kind of more consistent journey, it was just exercise every morning. And that exercise gave me so many happy feelings, the happy chemicals that we've talked about and we know about, those things got me through my day. And then I started adding in a gratitude journal. And then I started adding in meditation. And it was not overnight, it was a gradual increase. And it's the same thing with eating well. It's not an overnight change, but eating well is a form of self-love to me. When you feed your body good food, it's just a salad as opposed to, I don't know, a pizza. it's like it just feels good, and people know that. They know they feel good after they eat something healthy. um and it's not about the feelings of guilt, it's just about the way your body feels, because your body gets happy that you've given it good fuel. But yeah, exercise for me. When I was going through a really hard time in my life, exercise was what kept me going. It was my biggest way that I could show myself self-love, and just making sure I get good sleep, and just doing my mornings are so sacred to me now, with the meditation to start it off, the journaling, and the exercise, and then I walk my dog, so I get outside. So it's like an all encompassing sort of thing every morning.
Yeah. So what I'm
So
hearing then, Kim, from that message and those words that are really, coming to me, it's moving your body in any kind of exercise, any kind of way that works for you,
exactly.
getting outside, getting in nature, doesn't matter what the weather's like, because here in Canada right now we have winter and snow.
Right.
It's doing a daily gratitude, whether it's writing in a
Yes.
journal or using simple words, use a
Right.
sentence to say what you're thankful for, right? It's
Yes.
what you fuel your body with, right? And
Yes.
it's just, again, overall loving who you are.
Right.
Those are
Right.
the key words that I'm hearing, and I feel they're really strong, important key words. Call it the simple five. And I say simple because it's not hard. It's
Right.
having to make it, again, we've talked about this, part of your daily ritual, part of your daily routine. And, Kim, with those, we all face days, like you mentioned too, there was a time I had struggled, but what keeps you, Kim? There's days where we wake up and we're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be an awful day, right? But other than those things you mentioned, what keeps you moving forward, Kim? What keeps you loving who you are? What keeps you using words that are kind and loving and making self-care, making taking care of you a priority?
Right. Well, I think it was a mindset switch for me to realize it's not about the diet. It's not about an easy fix. It's not about a health goal. This is a lifetime of living. And so and I've met people along the way that have endured so much and still have such a positive outlook on life. And you're thinking, well, I could do that because, you know, I should do that because, but yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't really have those mornings where I don't want to exercise. I, I will say that a year ago today, I woke up after a tornado ripped through my neighborhood. I did not get up and exercise. I got up and I was grateful
Mhm.
for the fact my house still stood, that there were very few, you know, that were injured from this tornado in my city. And because it was devastating, but I was grateful, and I was grateful I had a place to go because my sister didn't get affected. I didn't have any electricity, so I was just grateful. But there are times like that, yeah, I didn't exercise, but I did the next day, and because that is what keeps me going. And just, you know I have a goal to live to be 100. And I mean, to live to be 100 healthy, not in a wheelchair, not tied to a bed. I want to be out there running around. I always say Betty White is kind of my idol.
She's awesome.
She's got this great bubbly personality, and she's almost there, right? And so, if I can reach that, so that's my health goal, is 100 up and around, and just, yeah, living
Yeah.
life. And then after that, I can go peacefully, you know,
Forever. I love that. That's what my husband and I say, that, our kids are teenagers, and, we're hoping one day we'll be grandparents, but you never know, right? But, you saying to be active, and it doesn't matter what the age, because age is just a number. And that's something we talk about. We want to be grandparents that are active and able to be mobile and do things with their grandkids. And a lot of that, again, hones back to mindset and the way you look at life. And it's taking action, doing it, versus just sitting it back and, well, whatever happens, I'll let it happen, right? I mean, there's two ways of
Yeah,
looking at that, right? There's two ways of looking, I'll let happen, whatever happen. But still, we have to give ourselves permission to allow the things we want to happen, to make them happen. It's a lot of
yeah,
happens.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
we're yeah. And Kim, we're a year in COVID now, and definitely every country is different. I'm not going to shade that at all. But we all face it. People are facing it in different ways. People are seeing it in different ways. People are being affected on many different levels. But what's something you've been doing, and what's something that, allows you to stay positive? And you talked about gratitude, and what allows you and to share advice, for
right.
other people out there that are still struggling with COVID.
Yeah. I think, if anything, we've all proven how resilient we can be over the last year. And I think that was kind of what I talked about this past Sunday. I think we don't realize how much we can overcome and endure until we go through something. But we are resilient. We just need to look back just a little bit to see that, and just reminding ourselves of that. And I will say, I have my days. It has not been an easy year since we all went into lockdown, but overall, I get in my mornings every single day. And then if the later of the day I need to, like yesterday, I needed a day to just relax. And I gave myself permission to do that, not to feel guilty that I had all this stuff I needed to do. I gave my permission to just relax because that's what I needed.
Mhm.
And recognizing that and having that, I guess it's emotional intelligence, is important. And especially during COVID, if you're going about and just going crazy because of homeschooling kids and trying to work, and the dog's interrupting you when you're trying to work, and you've got all these, if you're married and you've got a spouse at home, I mean, it can be overwhelming, right? But you just got to give yourself permission and take 5 minutes, close your eyes, and just like listen to a noise that you love, and just like focus on that for 5 minutes, and just then go back to your day. And there's different ways to get through these sorts of things, but I think just remembering how resilient we are is really kind of key, to understand we have gone through so much in life prior to this. Sure, it really rocked our worlds this last year. It changed everything, but we're getting through it. I think we're at the beginning of the end of it. And I think, just, yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. It's something that I really talk about as well, right? I feel that, the people that have tend to struggle more are the people that prior to COVID felt they always need to be in control. They always had to control everything. They always had it very regimented, very strict. COVID came,
Right.
and all of a sudden, "Ugh, I'm not in control," right? And some people really struggled with that. All the control they had before, suddenly no more, right?
Right.
But it's, being grateful every day, and just taking a moment
Mhm.
to breathe, taking a moment to step away, taking a moment to refocus, look out the window, something I do too, right? I always say you're going to feel much more uplifted. You're going to feel much more resilient. You're going to feel much more powerful in a positive way when you listen to that inner voice, when you listen to your gut, when you listen to your intuition.
Right.
You're going to achieve more. And I say achieve because people are achievers. You're going to achieve more at the end of the day when you give yourself a break. When you sit
Yes.
down and you're just brain dead and you're getting more and more frustrated and just like, right? You end up
Right.
getting anywhere. And you're
Mhm.
just, again, hounding yourself, pounding yourself with all this negativity. When you give yourself a break, go around the block, go for a walk, go up and down the stairs, look out the window, catch your breath, stretch. When you do that, you feel and when you allow yourself to release, never amazes me how that brain shifts and allows new energy to come to you, and allows you to solve the problems or the issues that you've been trying to get done, or complete a work project, or to complete these tasks and these organizational things that's expected of you. So the
Mhm.
fact that you do the same thing and it works for you, that's proof. That's not only
Yes.
coming from me, but it's proof from someone around the world, another part of North America, that it does work. And again, it's giving
Yes.
yourself permission. It's
Yes.
allowing you to make the choice to allow it to
Right.
happen. I mean,
Right.
I've seen it with my own family too. It's like, just release and breathe for a sec, right? And it's amazing how it really makes a positive difference in your life, and not only yours, but the people you care about. So thank you for
Exactly.
sharing that wisdom, that knowledge, that truth, right? That truth.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so Kimberly, as we're slowly coming to an end of our conversation today,
Uh-huh.
there's three questions I ask every guest, and
Okay.
it's wonderful because we kind of dig deeper
Right.
and learn a
Right.
little bit more about you. And there's always wisdom at the end, that ties the conversation really, really nicely together.
Right.
So the first one being, we all have quotes that we simply love and we live by, or we constantly pull towards reading it again. So what is a quote that you really love and
Oh,
you tend to live by, Kimberly?
yeah, that's I'm gonna misquote because I forgot to pull it up and look at it.
Okay.
But Dr. Seuss Day was yesterday, right? I love Dr. Seuss,
Yeah.
and there's a quote out there about be youer than you. There's, like
Yeah.
I think it's just so important, like to be you, to be authentic, to just
Mhm.
be you. And, you know, so I love that one. I can't remember the exact
Yeah, I know
words.
which one you're talking about. Yeah, no, it's true, right? It's like Dr. Seuss. It's These books were written, many years ago. But to see the insight, the wisdom that Dr. Seuss had, but it's like, just be you, love you, and it's have fun, and life is how it is.
Right,
And yeah, you need to be you as an individual. You're meant to be who you are. People love you and adore you for who you are. So
right.
why try and be somebody else, right?
Exactly.
When you're trying to be someone else, you're not being true to yourself. So great
Right.
quote, great quote.
Yes. Yes, I love that one.
Yeah. As far as advice, Kimberly, what's, number one advice? And I know we've really talked about a lot here today, but what is one piece of advice you can share with our audience today?
Well, I think, yeah, we've talked about so much, but if you can do anything today, just take that 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Just take the 5 minutes and step away and listen to your breath and listen, just slow down. Um, I think we all need to slow down a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And then after that 5 minutes, you could go about and speed back up. But my goodness, just take, and you can even do it while you're eating. You can take,
Mhm.
while you're eating, take that time, really be mindful of how things taste and really chew your food. I mean, there's different ways, you can take that 5 minutes if you just can't get away.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, that's what I would say to do. I would say I've been doing that a lot more this past year, and that has really helped a lot when I
Yeah.
feel very overwhelmed.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know what? It's called mindful eating, right? Being
yeah,
aware of the textures and the flavors. And you know what? That 1 minute or 3 minutes, you can even take the bathroom. Right? So
yeah,
people are like, I was like, go to the bathroom and do it. Just close the door.
Yeah. Oh,
But it works. I've had people's like, oh yeah, it does work. Yeah, just a few moments throughout the day, right?
just
So important.
yes,
Now,
yes.
Kimberly, we know you're an aunt and auntie. We know you're a dog mummy. So in my last question, you cannot include family because I'll call those family. But if this was the last day of your life, Kimberly, what is one thing that you would be grateful for?
My health,
Mm.
uh, yeah, my home, the technology, honestly and truly, because I have family in England and I would never get to speak with him as much without it. Um, just the opportunities life has given me and the experiences and yeah, just all those things.
You know, it's interesting you said health because I write in a gratitude every day, a gratitude journal every day. And I used to 10, now I leave it to 5. But, you know, that's one of the things that is usually the number one thing I write in there. I am grateful for my health because it keeps me alive.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes.
never take who you are, your health for granted, right?
Well, your health, without your health, life is just not as easy as it could be, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
Kimberly, I want to thank you very much for being a guest on Mindful Conversation, sharing this beautiful conversation and helping to, you know, empower other women out there and to acknowledge and to help give them a voice about the importance of self-love, of self-care, of taking a moment to breathe and, you know, loving who you are and validating who you are and knowing that you have choices and giving yourself to make choices. So on that note, thank you very much. And thank you to the audience and our listeners today for tuning in to another one of my mindful conversations. As you know, I'm Tanya Otterstein-Liehs, mindset and fitness coach, helping you to a positive journey. And when you go to bed tonight, you know what to do. Be grateful and be thankful and send out the best thing that happened. And when you wake up in the morning, feel gratitude, either write it down or put it out there. Have a wonderful day. Love who you are and acknowledge the amazing person you are. You're here to be. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.